Hey, everybody. Welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kirby. Of course, we're talking to small nonprofits doing great big things. I have a fantastic show for you today. Not only do we have the youngest ever guest on the official Do Good Better podcast, but possibly, and I mean this in like the most sincere way, possibly the most do-gooderest human being I have had the pleasure of knowing. And I am so excited to feature him on the show today. Sambestge, he's probably best known for, being a student, but also as the founder of Sam's Meals for Many. Sam, welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast.
Thanks, sir.
I appreciate you being on the show. If somebody's flipping through their Apple iTunes and somebody is flipping through any number of social media challenges and they see your face, because they will see your face, and they want this handsome young devil has something interesting to say, but they have no idea who on earth you are. I need to have a 5,000-foot view on what the heck you are up to right now. The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, so Sam's Meals for Many is a actual nonprofit that I started about 4 years ago with helping the different families in my local community, and we've been giving complete meals to different families in our Lake Park Audubon school district, and we've been just going from there, and we've grown and shown our exponential growth by just your contributions. And so how it all started was basically I got a challenge from my Sunday school teachers. They gave us $15. They challenged us to use or give 10 of it away to charity, and 5 of it was for yourself, or you could put all of it towards charity. So basically what happened to me is I had a moment where I just thought, wow, there's that much food scarcity in Becker County alone, because Becker County Food Pantry is the most used food pantry in the state of Minnesota, or one of them at least.
Interesting.
So then it got me thinking about how I could help a family in my local school district. So then I kept thinking about it. Can I give them a Christmas dinner while over Christmas break? So that's where the idea started, and then I grew from one family to now serving 50 this last year, and my goal is 50 again, and hopefully we can get up to 50 and help even more.
I think we'd go with more. So let's circle back, because I'm very curious. You said 4 years ago. At what age are you 4 years ago that you get $15 to be challenged at your Sunday school for this project?
I believe it's 11 years old.
Okay, so you're 11 years old when you get this challenge. I just need people to understand this, because this is where this is how I love this story so much, is that an 11-year-old Patrick Kirby is thinking nothing except for like video games. And I don't even know if I could purchase at that time a Nintendo game. I probably couldn't.
Yep.
But that's all my brain's thinking about. This young man at 11 years old thinks, how can I give all this away, and how can I buy somebody a family? And then has the audacity to think, all right, 1's great, 20's better, 50's fantastic, and then let's go north of that. So how do you go? So year 1, you give 1 away. How do you grow from 1 to what was the next year? At
the
12,
next year,
I just want to let the listening audience know, at the age of 12, decides to go from 1 meal to then how many?
To 11.
11. So
11 with 43 people served.
43 people served.
43 people.
Unbelievable. So it's, again, what we talk about on the podcast a lot, Sam, is that we talk with a lot of nonprofits who have this scarcity mindset, who they think like, well, $10 and $15 doesn't matter much, and nobody really has the need or they want to give to me at this low level. What you're talking about is massive impact with very little funds. And I think that is such a remarkable thing from a remarkable young man, is to have that mindset out of the gate. So you take 11 dinners, feed 43 people. Year 3, where do you go? Go from 11
Year
to 1.
3, we did 29 families with 136 people
So
served.
now we're 3 timesing everything. So we
Yep.
double it. We 10 times it year 1. We then
Yep.
double it, triple it year 2, and then
Yep.
year 3.
Year 3 was 29, right?
Yep.
And then this last year, 50 families with a total of 223 people served in our local community. That's with multiple meals,
Yep.
which is we gave them about 5 to 6 real good meals, like big family dinners.
Yeah. What's
So
the process where you started soliciting? I think a lot of our nonprofit groups who are very terrified of asking for money are going to be looking to you for your brain power here, because I think everybody's very scared about the answer of no. Were there any individuals who said no to you while you asked for either donations or monetary gifts for this project over the years?
that's a hard question.
Love it.
I've
Very challenging questions on the official Do Good Better podcast.
exactly. I I really have had the luck of my church community
Mhm,
that they've just supported me and gotten behind me the entire way.
mhm.
I maybe last year was the first year where I started asking businesses
Mm,
a lot more than than this coming year.
yep.
Um, I if they weren't available to talk, then I just left a letter, and I really didn't have much to. I never really directly got told no.
Yeah. So again, this is a really interesting lesson for those who are listening as well. When you don't know what the answer no is, you're not scared of the answer in the first place. Therefore, you don't go into a situation where you're like, oh boy, I hope somebody can give me $3, right? You're going in there saying, I'm going to do a badass thing. I'm going to raise a bunch of money. I'm going to help as many people as possible. Your attitude in fundraising begets better attitude and makes the momentum happen. If you learn anything from this conversation, is just what we talked about, which is not to remember getting told no. Not that you won't, because you will, but the fact of the matter is your confidence in knowing that you're doing amazing things, and your confidence in walking the walk, and not just saying I'm gonna go do some of these things, but like, here's what we built. People want to help. They don't know how. You're giving them a platform to do so, and you're doing it with enthusiasm at an age where most people don't think about philanthropy the way that you have, and that is remarkable, and kudos to you. This year's probably bringing a little more challenges than most years in the past. The Rona being one of
Corona.
them. Have you experienced any different ways that you're doing soliciting, or some issues that have come up, or how has this affected you?
I really haven't had much. I haven't done much soliciting yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm on my way. Um, Really, what I'm planning on doing is making a lot of phone calls. I'm not going to be afraid to pick up the phone and call people, and that's going to be my main way of fundraising with the businesses. I also put a couple of articles in our local papers, in the church newsletters. So that's how I've gotten started, at least. But then I'm gonna make some more calls this week yet, and then we'll get rolling on the fundraising.
One of the crazy questions I get asked at least 3, 4, 5 times a day is, how do I fundraise online? What is my online fundraising? How come nobody's liking my stuff? How can I gain traction with my email list? What I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks is what is old school is new school again. And these supercomputers we have in our pockets,
Yep.
these phones. Remember what a phone used to be? You pick it up and you call somebody, are not being
Very
used,
little.
right? They're very tiny. They aren't the
Yep.
dialing things anymore. But what you said is so far past professional fundraisers' brains currently, which is going back to what got you there in the first place, which is these traditional ways of reaching people. We are so inundated with Zoom calls. We're so inundated with virtual everything that the relationship building skills of having a conversation, picking up the phone and having the audacity to ask for money is the actual trait you need to have during this time. And what you just said is a blueprint for every other organization that needs to follow from now into the end of the year. So kudos to you, my friend. And going old school and then writing letters and having impact statements. What a cool notion. If you are listening on how to do this, folks, we're giving you the playbook right here. And not only do I think you're going to crush that 50, I think people this year are going to understand that the need is going to be exponentially greater than it ever has been. And people are going to want a way to help or volunteer. And there's nowhere to volunteer. You can't volunteer places. There's no volunteering. So
especially with us this year.
Especially, right? And you can't do that. And I think what you're demonstrating is that you're giving people a very easy way to support. It's by writing you a check for how much money? How much money would you need for every one of these individual meals that you're putting together for families?
For each family, our goal is to have around $550 to go back into the community to provide the meals from the local restaurants that are hurting from the COVID-19 restrictions and just the impact of COVID-19 in the entire U.S. So we're trying to alleviate that issue with helping our families, but also putting it back into the community and giving the restaurants the chance to create our meal kits for each family this year. That's different than we've done in the past with actually going and purchasing it all in bulk from Cashwise and Moorhead and Costco and all of that. So we're changing the entire thing we're asking the restaurants to provide the food, but we'll support them in that, and then we're also putting it back into the community in our local Lakes area community.
So we just got super meta here in the best possible way, which is not only recognizing that there is a need for meals in the community for families, but also recognizing that the restaurant industry is being crushed. So you've gone and moved to supporting restaurants to support families by purchasing food from the restaurants to be delivered to those families.
Yep.
My goodness, you are a freaking genius. And here's the thing, this is where outside of the box thinking, and this is where we've always done it this way, is the nail in the coffin of organizations. You have been swift of foot enough and visionary enough to make that particular move. That is an applaudable move there, my friend. That is really, really smart. Now, are there specific restaurants you're working with, or are you just picking them randomly, or do you have a structure here? How does that work?
I'm gonna make some more phone calls this week yet and talk to some more restaurants. I've left a couple messages about who and which restaurants we're gonna partner with, and asking them to submit their ideas, and then we'll pick and choose the best that we can with the confinements of how much fundraising we get. And yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to serve the 50 families, but I need to reach our fundraising goal, which is $25,000 this year,
Right.
compared to 13 last year.
Yeah.
It's a $12,000 gap.
Yeah. And so let's walk through some of your plans to make that gap up. A lot of nonprofits are probably looking and staring down the barrel of a financial gap between A and B, and they're looking at their own ways of trying to figure that out too. So let's work at that together. How are you planning on filling that gap from 13 to 25 grand in order to provide some of these meals for families across the region?
My plan is to get on the horn and keep asking the donors from last year to see if they can give what they gave last year, or even double it, and hopefully we get those few, but then I also am doing more outreach in social media. I'm going to do some more phone calls in Detroit Lakes. I'm going to do probably some more in Fargo too. But I'm just going to keep fundraising with the ways that I have, and then I'm also going to ask more businesses this year because I really didn't. I just confined myself to the local lakes area.
I have a very good tip for you, and this is for nonprofits everywhere who are looking for that to outreach to businesses. Is that businesses are probably going to be in a very interesting situation depending on who gets clobbered the most with mandates and closures and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Businesses also have employees. So one of the things that I think you have a real shot at is engaging the businesses to help engage the employees to offer them a way to help families across the region, because they might not be able to give you big old lump sums of money, but a number of people within those companies could collaborate together to maybe work with the company to be a matching sponsor. Or if the company individuals raise this amount of money, it'll be matched by the actual company themselves. Now you're putting out a challenge and you're working together as a team on how to raise as much money as possible from certain entities without the full financial burden landing on the shoulders of the business owners, but also giving an opportunity to those who are employed at that particular company to help with this project as well. And all of a sudden now you're one phone call to a company turns out to, let's just say there's 30 people who work there, is now a 30-person phone call.
I never thought about it that way.
Aha! Hot tips here at the official Do Good Better podcast. Sam, that is one of the remarkable things. So if somebody's listening to this podcast, they're watching you on here, they want to help. They just don't know how, because they don't know how to get a hold of you. Clearly, we haven't flashed up on the screen yet a number. And how would one get a hold of Sam to give you money to Sam's Meals for Many?
So we have a Facebook page that you can like and follow. You can also message us at Sam's Meals for Many on Facebook. That's the best way to get a hold of us. Otherwise, you can find me around, or you can find me on social media as well. If you want to email or if you want to donate, you can go to our GoFundMe link, which is on our Facebook page, and then I will also.
Yeah. We'll drop it. We'll drop it in the comments below too. So we'll make sure that everything is in the show notes. We'll make sure of that. And currently, where are you at with fundraising, and where do we need to go? We need to get to 25 grand. And what date do you need 25 grand by? Let's put it out here. Put it out into the vibes in the world. Let's make this happen, my friend.
Right now, I'm at about $5,500.
Love it.
And we need to get to 25,000, and we are hoping to have all the donations done by the 13th of December.
All right.
That will give us enough time to to give final numbers to the different restaurants that we will be partnering with to secure how many we're going to do this year.
If you're a nonprofit leader and you're wondering how I motivate the troops here from now until the end of the year, and you haven't listened to this particular young man talk about how excited he is about fundraising from start to finish and giving that story at the age of 11 years old, everybody, and then rocking and rolling and becoming a real venture philanthropist here in this region, I defy you to not be motivated about this as well. Sam, I'm absolutely impressed with your tenacity to make sure that this happens. I'm unbelievably impressed with the creativity you have inviting and investing in not only the nonprofit yourself, but in the businesses who have seen a decline in revenue as well, and involving them. I think your passion's going to make this happen, and I'm really excited that you got to be on the show. And I'm really excited that you're giving out super hot tips, like pro fundraising hot tips to the listeners.
I learned from the best.
Yeah, well, I'll take that. as a compliment to the day here. That's great. But I'm really happy for you. I'm really proud of you. I'm really excited to see how this goes. And if there's anybody who's listening and wants to get involved, click on the show notes, get involved, click on Sam's Meals for Many, go to Facebook, like the page, follow it, and set themselves. If you've got leads, you get them, you get a hold of that as well. And we're going to make this happen together for sure. I am ecstatic for you to be a guest on, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Show notes in there. Make sure that you're going to check it out. Sam, appreciate you being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast.